What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, September the 1st, 2023, 8:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's only 5:04 p.m. for this guy to my left, your right. Cecil Laird of The Horror Show, writer, director, producer of Dylan's New Nightmare. Dylan's New Nightmare was released yesterday around the world. It was released on YouTube for everybody to watch. Finally, 4 years in the making. Cecil is like, you know what? I'm getting it out there. It's August the 31st. It released yesterday. The reviews have started to come in. People are expressing what they feel about it, talking about it. You know, people want more. Oh my God, is that it? No, we want more Dylan's New Nightmare. And yeah, so here we are. Cecil Laird of The Horror Show. What's going on, my man? What's going on?
Not too much. I always happen to start talking earlier than I should on your stream, so I kept my trap shut this time.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. Listen, this is an impromptu stream. But you know what? Let's do it. Let's talk about it. If you're new to the channel, if you're watching live or after the fact, welcome to the channel. Yeah, we'll see who rolls on. I don't know if anybody's going to show up. We do have 76 people already, which is good. We'll see if any more people show up. I have no idea. But oh yeah, you're right. I got the wrong background on. You're right. I got the wrong background on. Thank you, Darren. I got the two dudes background up by accident. Hang on a sec. Let me get that background off. There we go. I had the wrong background up. Others were probably noticing that too. Whoops. Well, technically, we are two dudes, and I mean,
we are about
to bullshit. So, you know, Tony, he probably doesn't mind. No, thank you, Darren. Thank you for that. Thank you. I didn't even notice it was up. It's crazy. Anyway, so here we are. We are here, and Dylan's New Nightmare was released yesterday. It's been like 36 hours now, roughly, give or take. How are you feeling, man? How you feeling? Cecil, it's out there now. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good, honestly. And for those that are curious, I'm actually on my way to a work appointment. So I've just got a long drive. So Dave was nice enough to still let me join. Forgive me for not having the best setup or the best angle, but, you know, enjoy my beard chin. No, I'm feeling good though. It's the response has been great. You know, we've been averaging a little bit more than 1,000 views per hour since we launched.
That's great.
So that's definitely pretty good. I'm hoping that we can maybe break 100,000 by the end of the holiday weekend. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, the currently the likes to dislikes ratio is over 98% like. So that's something that we're very proud of, you know, considering how long it's been out there already. You'd think we would have attracted a few more trolls than we have just now. Not that I'm putting out a call for them or anything.
Oh, I am. Where are you, all you bastard trolls?
No, but for the most part, I mean, the comments seem overwhelmingly positive. You know, like 90% or even above that are positive comments. With, you know, of course, a few negatives to be expected, but you know, overall very, very positive. So I'm pretty happy right now.
Well, yeah. Like,
how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. You know, I'm feeling good. Like, yesterday was an interesting day because it was a big production meeting day for myself and It's Me, Billy Chapter 2. So I had that going on, but I was also monitoring the release of Dylan's New Nightmare, and I was excited about that. So my focus was like on two different things. And so it was interesting. But no, I was paying attention. I was watching, I was getting tagged in a lot of stuff and I was, getting notified and things like that. And I first want to say, because I see a few people saying in the chat here, and we will acknowledge you by the way, if you have a super chat you want to send in, or basically if you want your question or comment to be guaranteed an answer, send it in via super chat. And that's one way to do it. But, and we will get to them shortly, or I will at the very least. Cecil may have to skedaddle depending how long we are here because he's going to a work appointment. But nonetheless, I feel good. And I just want to say thank you to everybody out there who has watched the movie, first and foremost, and who has let us know how you feel about it, good and bad. I mean, that's, again, it's not about, we're big boys. We're all adults. We can take the feedback and Chris. It's not that people give feedback. It's the people that go, well, it's fucking shit. It's like, well, that's not a critique. That doesn't mean anything. Well, they're just shit, oh, fucking shit. Well, that does. Okay, all right, okay. Next, it doesn't mean anything. But every now and then you come across, some people are like, well, it was good, but I thought maybe this or that or whatever. And sometimes I'm sure you've read this too. They're disappointed with something, but unfortunately, because of the limitations of the story, we know that if we were able to complete the story, they would no longer be disappointed by that thing they're disappointed with. And I've seen, but of course we can't say what that is because that would be spoiler territory. It's very similar to how I was handling Billy, the sense of, I'd love to tell you more, but I can't. So you'll just have to be disappointed by this for a while. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's fair. Like some people are just, oh shit. And then other people are like, oh, I really liked it, but I'm, I wasn't crazy on this or wasn't crazy on that or whatever. And there's nothing nasty about the comment. They're just expressing that they weren't crazy on whatever. And that's totally fair. That's fine. It's art, right? It's art. And, there are a lot of people that are going to agree with the creative decisions you make. There are going to be people that don't agree with the creative decisions you make. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can't please, not everybody's going to, because everybody has their own idea of what they want it to be. You know what I mean? And so anyway, I just want
to... sorry, not to cut you off there.
No, I just want to finish by saying that. So, I was looking at all of that and I was seeing all of that, but I just wanted to say again, thank you to everybody who watched the movie, but especially to everybody who reached out to me, tagged me, said, dude, you're amazing. Loved it. All that kind of stuff. It means a lot. It means a lot. And I really, really appreciate it very much. It does. 'Cause, it's a lot of hard work. And I didn't want to let anybody down. That doesn't mean everybody's going to like my portrayal, but I, as I've said on this channel from the very beginning, right? I've said my job's not to go in and do Robert. If you feel Robert there, well, that's great. That means I'm doing my job, but my job was just to bring the essence of Freddy back and at the very least show that it can live on with another actor, whether that's me or somebody else. The character can live on. And at the very least, I think I was able to prove that. So I was very pleased with the response and thank you to everybody who did. Anyway, sorry, Cecil.
The funny thing to me, just regarding that particular point real quick, is that there were actually a couple of people that were like, oh, he was too much like Robert. It's like, wait. I thought I thought that would be a good thing, and they're like, I wish he would have done his own thing or something like that. It's like, well, no, like they're like, it was just an impression. It's like, no, he was embodying the character, but like, what did you want out of him then? Like, so it becomes like, I just
to fail curious. Miserably.
The thing that I saw about me, like there was a fair number of comments critiquing the writing, but I use the term critiquing very loosely. Because it's, I guess it is a critique, but it's not what you'd call a constructive one, where they're just like, the writing was bad, or the script needed work. It's like,
right.
Okay, how so? Like, what do you mean? Like, because I would like to take on those opinions and try and improve myself as a writer and stuff. But if it's only like writing bad, needed work, it's like, that's not going to help me figure out where the shortcomings were. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I kind of wish that some people were a bit more like, just explain it a little bit more,
right? So
that I can try and correct these things for the next outing. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's been the fun thing about the comment process so far.
Yeah, I too. I've seen things like that as well, and I think it's hard because if you don't follow us regularly and you're not getting regular updates, and there's more people out there that don't follow us than do follow us, right? You know what I'm saying? Unless you have like 10 million subscribers or something. So there's always those people that, and I don't blame them for this. Like I understand this, but it's hard to be able to explain it without giving things away. And again, Vince had the exact same thing happen to him with Never Hike in the Snow. We had the same thing happen to us with It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1. And that is sort of that cliffhanger. And it's important that people understand, and I think I can speak for Cecil when I say this, it's important for people to understand that, and maybe what they mean is, if they're not, like when they say the writing's bad or I didn't like the writing, does it feel maybe they don't quite know how to articulate it. I'm not saying everybody, I'm just saying that maybe that's why it's so surface level. They're responsible. The writing's just bad because it feels unfinished, or it doesn't feel like it went anywhere, or it feels incomplete, and all those things. And all those things are true. That is true. It is incomplete. It is unfinished. But the reason why, when you want to deliver high production value, and you don't have to deliver, that's very true. We could have shot a fan film, a feature-length film for $10,000 on a DSLR, and we could have used a latex mask, and we could have all those things. And for sure. And then we could have delivered maybe a more complete story. But we want to deliver something of high production value, a professionalism, of quality. So to showcase what we can do at that level. And in order to do that, it costs a lot of money. And it's easier to take these things in stages to at least the first one, right? Like what we did with Billy. The first one, to showcase what you can do. And then if people really like it, then hopefully they come out and support. I mean, look what Vince did. I mean, he raised like, $300,000 US, for goodness sakes, to shoot the Never Hike Alone 2 feature. And so anyways, I don't want to go off on a diatribe, or not a diatribe, but a sort of a tangent, I should say. But I think it's important for people to understand that we are limited with our budgets because we've made the creative choice to shoot this high production value, to deliver professional quality from top to bottom. And when you do that, when you make that choice, sometimes it's easier to be a little episodic with it to start, right? So think of Dylan's New Nightmare as like a pilot, you know what I'm saying? But of course, if you don't follow us or follow you, and you're just like, oh yeah, Dylan's New Nightmare, I'm going to tune into this. It feels like, what kind of story was that? It just ended. Where did it go? I hope there's going to be a part 2. Like people used to say that. It's Me, Billy just ended. Well, that was weird. It's like, well, it just, is that it? That
like we knew what we were shooting.
Exactly. Well, exactly. We didn't just end Billy there because we ran out of money. We didn't just end, or I should say you, because of course I'm not I guess I could say me because I'm a part of it, but I just want to give credit where credit is due. You are the writer, the director, the producer. You are the creator of Dylan's New Nightmare. But we didn't just end it there because we ran out of money. The story was designed to stop there because of the money we had. So I just want people to understand that now, again, if there's other things they didn't like with the story or the writing, okay, that's fair. Then you need to articulate that. But I do know that some people are like, oh, it feels unfinished. It kind of just ended when, when it was getting good. Well, that's the idea, right? If you really like this, hopefully more people will come out and support the next one. And Cecil maybe will be able to do what Vince has done, which is instead of, raise another 50,000 to shoot, one more and then 50,000 to shoot another one. Maybe he'll be able to raise 250,000 and be able to shoot the feature. And now you get everything all in one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if that's going to happen. But anyway, I just wanted to say that it's important to keep those things in mind, that when we take this very seriously, we're filmmakers and we want to shoot, where it's a fan film, yes, like I've always said on this channel, but films like Never Hike Alone, Dylan's New Nightmare, It's Me, Billy, they're fan films because we don't own the intellectual property, but we are going about them the exact same way we would as if we're shooting something that's, that is original. And then somebody could ask, well, why don't you just go ahead and do that? Well, because taking a established IP and running with it, not for profit, of course, right? It helps to get eyeballs onto us as creators, and it allows us to play in a sandbox in a world and to please fans that, aren't getting these movies that they've always wanted. Anyway, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And it's ultimately, like, that's the funny thing. I saw one couple dudes reviewed it, and really nice guys. And but one of them had like 3 things that he felt was wrong with the movie. And as he went through them, like, from my perspective, like 2 of them were ultimately compliments. And his biggest one was that it was just too short.
Yeah.
And he's like, I wanted more. Like you said, it felt unfinished. But I like the amount of people that were like, as soon as it ended, I was like, oh, come on. Like, that to me says that we did our job. You know
That's
what
right.
I mean? Like,
That's
we did exactly what we wanted to do, which was make you guys feel something.
That's right.
And make you guys want to see more. And, everyone just has to put their cognitive reformation hats back on and be like, okay, let me cognitively reframe the fact that this is not, they didn't have a lot of money for this. This is, they did really well considering the amount of money they raised. Like, it looks like every penny of it is up on screen and then some. And so I just am bummed that there's not more of it right now in front of my face. So, like, that's ultimately, I'm taking that as a compliment more than detractor. One dude gave us a 6 because he's like, I just expected more. After all this time and all this hype, I just expected there to be more. Like, well, that's a hefty minus for just wanting more when that's technically a good thing. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, look, I mean, again, not to, but it's true. I went through the same thing, with Billy, and it ended when it was just getting good. You know what I mean? And well, that's a good thing. That means you felt something. When Sam says "Grandma" and it cuts to black, the credits roll, and you're like, well, that's what we want. We want you to go, you know what I'm saying? So when Dylan has that moment on the phone, I won't spoil it for those of you who haven't seen it yet, but when there's that moment on the phone and it cuts to black, and you're like, well, that's what we want. It was designed that way. But again, for those who don't follow us or aren't keeping up with it, and they just hear about it, they're expecting a complete story, beginning, middle, and an end, not something that's more like an episode. And that's understandable. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. There's, but if we wanted to shoot, a $5,000 feature, we could, but I would not have looked the way I did. I can tell you that.
You wouldn't have signed on. Who are you kidding?
It's true. I mean, listen, 90% of the budget went to me. I mean, let's just be totally honest here.
No, that's true.
I have a hefty price tag.
Considering how gracious you were about everything, that's true. But I just mean, you would have been smart enough to say no to something like that just because of the amount of time wasted.
Well, sure. And, and listen, on a $5,000 budget, Nora, there ain't no head sculpting. There ain't no prosthetic makeup. Mikey Rotella's not going to be molding anything. Nora Hewitt's not going to be painting anything. I'm not going to, like, it's not going, like, I'm just letting you know that there's reasons why, it's not that, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So hopefully people understand that, and they understand why we're doing it this way. And why we've made the choice to do it this way. We absolutely could have done it the other way, sure. But you see the difference when you watch a fan film that is like that, and then you watch something like Never Hike Alone or Dylan's New Nightmare or It's Me, Billy, and there is a big difference. And so that's intentional. And I'm very proud of, the work that you've done. And I think the response is, like I said, I think it's been mostly good. I mean, there's always my trolls that come out. Dave McRae there was this one guy that's like, Dave McRae. I posted this on my Many Things Facebook page. He's like, Dave, what did he say? Dave McRae is this obnoxious coke addict. And so I responded to him and I said, that's not true. I much prefer chocolate milk. And so, it's just,
I almost commented, can vouch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I was able to play Freddy. I was doing lines on the toilet in the back, in the makeup room.
No, but, I could literally vouch for that fact because we all went to a bar when we were at Mad Monster, and I'm pretty sure you did order your chocolate.
I did. No, I tried to order, but it was a bar, right. So they didn't have chocolate milk. So I was like, right. Well, I'll just get a water then or whatever. But but yeah, no, it's you always get those trolls and that kind of stuff, and the people that just don't like me. So no matter what I do, I could direct a movie that is as great as The Shawshank Redemption or Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, but I hear it's great. You know what I mean? Like something really epic. And my trolls would still be like, "No, it's fucking shit." It's fucking shit. They'd still say that. Yeah. It's me they don't like, right? So it doesn't matter what I do. They're just going to hate on everything that I do. So, you get those people that are just, who gives a shit about them? They're nothing. And then you get the people that don't even know who I am and that are just, haters or whatever. And then, yeah. So, I mean, but I mean, listen, it was a lot of hard work and we put it out there. And so far, I think the feedback's been good as much as I can see. I mean, you've been keeping up on it probably a lot more than I have. So there's probably a lot of things I haven't even noticed yet, or reviews I haven't even seen yet. But
my mind has been distracting me the entire time since you mentioned Oppenheimer because I heard something interesting about it. Did you hear that it bombed in literally every theater that it was in?
No, I didn't hear about that. It's got like almost nearly $1 billion worldwide. Oh, it bombed in every theater. Yeah, I just got that. Oh, you almost got me. Well, no, you did get me, but I was able to reel it in. That was good.
Reel it back real quick.
That was good. You almost had me, dude.
Sorry. Yeah, my brain really takes the time to focus in on shit like that. So I just have to say it out loud.
That was good. That was good.
No, but yeah, I hear what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, it's just there's a whole gamut, and that's always going to happen. The funny thing that's interesting though, and this is my first experience with this as an actor from this perspective, right? Because this is, outside of voiceover. I mean, I've had a very successful voiceover career, and I've had a lot of things that people probably heard me on, but wouldn't know it was me over the years. But in terms of on camera, this is definitely the biggest thing that I've ever done, because for those of you that don't know, very early on in my career in the early 2000s, I started out as an on-camera actor. I was auditioning for commercials and docudramas and all that kind of stuff. And I landed, a few of those. But very early into my on-camera career, I broke my teeth and I was like, oh my God. And I wound up into the voiceover and all that kind of stuff. And the rest is history. So I never, in terms of on camera, I never had an on-camera career. So this is the biggest thing that I've ever done, being on camera. And it's fascinating to watch the reviews and read the people and how they're judging you and your performance and judging you and like as a it, and they don't even know you. And yet it's interesting. I can only imagine that this is what it's like for like some A-list celebrity compounded by like 10 trillion times more. And you really see like the little bits of trolls that you see, oh, Dave McCray's a piece of shit and all that kind of stuff, is like, wow, so that's what it's like times a trillion when these celebrities have to like basically, delete their social media accounts because they're just getting bombarded by people that are upset that you didn't do justice in their eyes to their favorite character. Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah, absolutely.
It's really interesting to see because there's people out there that are like, not my Freddy, Robert's still better. And I'm reading this and I'm looking at this and going, so this is what it must be like times a trillion. I'm not saying, I'm just like times a trillion. If like, like for Daisy Ridley or somebody, right? Or like John Boyega or even Christopher Nelson, the makeup effects artist who did all the makeup effects for Halloween, right? The Halloween films and how people, I watch him, of course, and Sean Clark on the Thing with Two Heads podcast, and he would often talk about how he'd get bombarded with some, I don't like the mask doesn't look right, or that's not really shit, could you do? And I'm just like, yeah, that must be, like, holy shit, like it must be really, you didn't do it right the way I wanted it, and it's like, well, that's fine. You just, just think that and, go about your day. You don't have to be mean to the person, Anyways, those are just sociological things that I'm noticing that I find interesting because I've never experienced that before. Because as a voice actor, you're full of anonymity. You know what I mean? Like, I do this shit all the time and you hear my voice, but you don't know it's me necessarily. So anyway, just had to say that. I found that really interesting.
No, yeah. You do have a good perspective as far as that goes. Cause I hadn't really thought about that, but just a couple of comments that I've been getting, I'm like kind of like puppy dog, like that kind of thing. But
of course,
but man, if I had just thousands of people telling me to off myself because they didn't like art that I made, Jesus, it's like, really?
That's it.
This is that important to you? And like, yeah, I that would be pretty tough.
Like,
that
imagine,
tough for sure.
And I doubt he does, or maybe he does, I don't know. But take like James Gunn, right? Or like, Zack Snyder and all that Snyderverse comic book stuff and all the Snyderverse people and the hatred and the vile and the vitriol and like all that stuff. I can't even, like, you can't pay attention to it. Like, you literally, there's just no way having all these rabid fans like, oh, you didn't do it right. You fired Henry Cavill. It's like, I can't even imagine I'm just going to open up my Twitter here. And it's just like, oh my God, it's like, let me go over to Instagram. And it's like, I can't even, like, no wonder that I can't even imagine. So that's what I mean, that like, I look at one little thing, like, to comment on the video, like, oh, Dave McRae's awful. And I'm like, wow, can you imagine if that was like times 1 trillion? I'm like,
in my head, dude, all I ever want to do is be like, hey, why don't you do it better? Hey,
yeah. That's right. Well, no, that's too hard. That's too hard. They don't want to do that. They just want you to do everything for free, and they can consume content for free. You know what I mean? And that's it. That's just what they want to do, And by the way, they are consuming it for free because it's a not-for-profit fan film and you're consuming it for free. And I tell you, I'm getting close to understanding now why Christopher Nelson says just shut up and eat your popcorn. I'm like, yeah, I kind of get it. But anyway, it's just fascinating. Again, like it's a new experience for me, like I said, because, in terms of on camera, this would be the biggest thing that I've done because I haven't been on camera in, almost 2 decades. So, so it's really,
well, with good reason. Look at you.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. I am an ugly son of a bitch. There's no doubt about it.
We got faces for radio.
Oh,
Dave.
fuck. This face. I was voted actually Canada's ugliest male in 2017. And it was incredible. Like, it was just, I feel quite proud of that actually, But
I think they call that the paper bag king, right? Isn't that
yes, that's right. Yeah. CBK, Canadian. No, CPBK, the Canadian paper bag king. Yeah, that's right. And
that's an esteemed position to be in.
It's very esteemed. World champion right here. I go to the championships next month in Sri Lanka. But anyway, so
Nice. Wow, there you go.
But yeah, so again, like it's just the whole experience is interesting because with Billy, of course, I'm co-director, co-writer, co-producer. I'm not in the movie, right? So I'm experiencing it from a different perspective. And when Billy 2 comes out next year, it will be again from a different perspective, right? The principles and the similar, there's parallels, but it's a bit different, when you're in the movie. So it's interesting. But what are some of the
sticking?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, sticking where we're at, just briefly. Obviously, we're discussing the slightly negative opinions. It has to be vindicating for you to see as many positive ones as you're getting, though, right? As many people going like, "Holy shit, they were right. I really didn't see David all in this." That's got to make you feel good.
It does, it does. It does make me feel good. It's cool to see. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you that have reached out to me and said how much you enjoyed the movie and my portrayal, and Miko, of course, just fucking killed it, and everybody, but the compliments specifically towards me and Freddy has been humbling and really, really sweet, and yes, absolutely validating. And people saying things like, oh, I hope you get a chance to at least audition to be, Freddy in an actual movie. And listen, it's a phone call I would definitely take. I probably wouldn't be the only actor up for it, but if I'm in the mix, I consider that a win. I'm used to auditioning, so I know how it goes. But yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, no, it's very flattering and sweet, and I'm just glad that people like the performance and could get behind what I brought to the table. And again, it's a short film, right? So there's only so much I can do. I mean, you put me in a feature, there might, you know what I mean? It's different. So I had limitations with what I could do because it's a short film script, as we all did. Sorry,
trying to park for gas and someone was about to try and take my pump, so I'm saying no.
Oh,
all right. Sorry, my bad. I should have muted myself. I'm listening still, though. Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just going to say that that it's sweet. Yeah, no, it's just it's nice that to hear people's feedback, and I'm glad that people could get behind what I was doing. But we were all limited, so because it's a short film, short script, so there was only so much that I could do of what the script allows me to do. And
get up on a wall, Dave. Come on.
Well, I mean, I could. No, but it was fun. It was fun. And again, I want to reiterate this again, because I have seen some people mention it again, is that it wasn't, what you saw was not a mask. I'm not wearing a mask. I had some people say, oh, I didn't like the mask, or I didn't like the way the mouth was, things like that.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I think I have a theory on that, which, if you don't mind, I'll mention. So I think first and foremost, I was not wearing a mask. So it's not a mask it's not a silicone mask. Not there's anything wrong with a silicone mask. There's great masks out there. But it wasn't a silicone mask. It wasn't a latex mask that you go to Spirit Halloween and get or whatever. It's not a over the head mask. It's not something you buy at a store and I just go like this and I put it on and I'm ready to go. It's not that. This is oh, hang on a sec here. I got my that popped up. In 2019, when I was in Los Angeles for the Voice Arts Awards, I met up with Cecil and Vince and Miko and Nora. It was my first time meeting everybody. And we went over to Nora's house, and Nora told me what it was, actually, because I asked her about it, because I was going to make a post about this. Nora, where are you? There you are. It's called the Body Double Life Casting Silicone. So in 2019, I sat in a chair for about 2.5 or 3 hours, whatever it was, and I had my head cast, exactly what they would have done with Robert back in the 80s. Now, obviously, technology's changed a bit, but this is what we were doing. So I sat in a chair, I had the goop put over me, and it's just a goop, this body double life casting silicone, just all over to create the mold for my face. And the reason for that is because what they're going to do is they're going to create a mold out of foam latex, okay? And it's going to be applied to my face in 6 pieces, like what they did with Robert back in the day. And the reason why we're doing that rather than just like a latex mask is because the foam latex gives me mobility. There were some people that said, I think the foam latex was too thick because he couldn't emote. I saw that.
I saw that your head was too big a couple times.
Yeah, I saw some people say that. Some people say that too. That actually is a thing that can happen with prosthetics. But anyway, so what what happens is, so I had the life cast done, all that done. That was great. And had my teeth done as well, you know. And then Nora Hewitt, what she decided to do was, instead of, she could have done this, but instead of doing the mold herself, she decided to pass it off to her special effects molding makeup artist, Hollywood makeup artist buddy, Mikey Rotella. Shout out to Mikey Rotella, who's worked on a ton of stuff. If you've seen it, he's working on Creepshow right now. He's worked on some Predator films. He designed the creature for the end of Smile that came out last year. He's the real deal. And so Nora handed it off to him because Nora had a lot of other stuff she was doing. She could have done it, but she kind of just decided to, outsource it to save time. And so Mikey did that. And I think this was during the pandemic. So Mikey was looking for some work, and that was perfect. Boom, I'll do that for you. No issues. So we have this guy, okay, this real legit guy who's creating the mold out of the cast. And the reason we're doing that is so it fits flush to my face. It fits like a glove. It's specifically molded to fit me and nobody else. So it's not a latex mask, like a one size fits all. It would not fit you because it's not molded to your face and your dimensions. Okay. So that's why we were doing this. So he did that. And then of course the molds came in, foam latex comes in 6 or 7 pieces. We got a back, we got a front, we got ears, we got a chin, all that kind of stuff. And it's glued to my face. They put the bald cap on and it's glued down to my face. And this whole process takes about 3 hours. And then Nora's got to paint it, and she's got to go in and, with the details and paint it and all that kind of stuff. And that could take like another 90 minutes or so. And so it's usually about a 4.5, 5 hour, process. So I could emote. I absolutely can. I mean, you can see, the photo that's on this thumbnail right now, with me going, that's me emoting. But the question becomes, it's also not that kind of a script. So I'm not going to be there going, ha ha, whoa, ha, oh, power glove. I could have done that, but the script doesn't call for that. So what appears to you as, he's not really emoting that much. It looks like I'm making conscious decisions to be subtle with my expressions and to be a little more dark and nuanced and things like that. I could have emoted the hell out of it if I wanted to, because the whole purpose of foam latex prosthetic application is so you can do this and it looks like your face. So now I think people, what they were complaining about with the mouth is that it looks like it's coming apart. It wasn't coming apart. Trust me, it wasn't coming apart. That's just what it looks like. When you look at Robert, the foam latex back in the early 80s might have been a bit thinner, to be honest. It might have been a bit thinner on Robert because there's different thicknesses I think you can do. But when you look at like Robert on the Goldbergs, when he's talking, he's got the same kind of mouth happening. So it's and you look at some of the later Nightmares, it looks very, very similar. So, but it depends on how you shoot it, the lighting, what's the framing, all that kind of stuff, right? But so just so people know, there wasn't anything going wrong here. It wasn't like, the makeup's falling apart, it's awful, they don't know what they're doing. It has nothing to do with that. This is the real deal. This is what would have been applied to Robert in the 80s. Like again, things change over the years, all that kind of stuff. But this is the process that we did to create Freddy is exactly what happened here. So I understand what people are saying, but I could emote perfectly fine. That's not the kind of Freddy that I was. You know what I mean? Right. If I was Freddy's dead Freddy, when, I could be really wide-eyed and go, ha-ha, ooh, ah, and you see a bit of that in the BTS that I posted with the date. I came right up to the camera and I was like, I'm doing all this, and you can see it a lot more, but I wasn't doing that in the film. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because I think that's important. Again, I want to give credit where credit is due, and shout out to Mikey Rotella and Nora Hewitt. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have looked nearly as good as I did. This isn't a latex mask. This isn't a Spirit Halloween mask. This isn't a silicone mask. This is the real deal. This is thousands of dollars, ladies and gentlemen. The real deal of how this is put together. It's why it looks as good as it does. Now, that doesn't mean the design's going to be for everybody. Because there's some people like, oh, the makeup's crap. Well, no, the makeup's not crap.
Right.
The makeup is as professional as it can possibly be. You just don't like the design. You're just not crazy about the design. That's
just
fair.
Not to your,
It's just not to your liking. That's fair. But the makeup ain't crap. Okay, it is Hollywood standard professional. You know what I'm saying? It's just you might be like, I'm not crazy on the sunken in. I'm not crazy on the design. Hey, that's fair. That's totally fair. That's totally fair. There's lots. I don't like Robert in Freddy's Dead. Like, the makeup in that, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But the makeup's not crap. I would never say the makeup's crap. I would just say the design's not to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So anyway, these are little things that the average fan probably doesn't think about when they type, online, but we do think about these things because obviously, we made the movie. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Cecil, over to you. Now that you've got your gas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now that I've got my gas, yeah, thank you. Yeah, this place is so far out. I'm into the sticks right now. So if the signal starts to go, it's because I'm well outside the city at this point. But yeah, man. I mean, the whole response has been, overall pretty great. I mean, a lot of our contemporaries on YouTube have been very complimentary about it. And, the people involved are excited to see it performing the way that it is. We had no specific expectations as to how it was going to perform. Like, none of us, ironically, none of us ever had that discussion about, like, how many views do we think this is going to get and how long,
Yeah.
I had numbers in my head, sure, that I was hoping to achieve, but seeing it do what it's doing is still encouraging. It might not be what I was hoping for, but it's definitely not bad by any stretch. It's outperforming our videos by a long shot on average and stuff. But when you'd hope so, considering how much went into this.
Yeah.
So I feel like people are going to constantly be discovering it, and a surprising amount of people are saying that they're watching it multiple times, and it's going to now be in their regular rotation, which is great. Awesome, right? That's a great compliment, and that's why we did it. We wanted. It's so funny. I literally just answered the question. Is like, why do people keep trying to keep this franchise alive? They should just let it die. And it's like, why? Like, nobody wants the franchise to die. Like, Robert doesn't want the franchise to die just because he's not going to be in it anymore. He created this character. This character is his legacy. Like, why on earth would he want the franchise to stop just because he had to stop? That doesn't make sense, especially, looking at it as a creative myself. Like, why would I want anyone, like, just because I can't do it or no one should? Like, that's take your ball and go home attitude, and that's not what anyone wants.
No, and Robert's not like that at all. I mean, as I've said to many people, these people that are like, it's Robert or nobody. I understand from a fan perspective, you're emotionally attached to that actor. He's a legend. He's a modern day Vincent Price, Christopher Lee. I mean, he's Robert Englund. He will go down in history as one of the great horror character actors. I mean, he's amazing. He's Freddy fucking Krueger. But even Robert Englund could tell you, well, of course there's other people that can do Freddy. I mean, there's other people that, like, he's the one that mentioned Kevin Bacon, even though I disagree with him on it, but he wouldn't have said.
That was like 4 or 5 years ago. It was
like, 4 or 5 years ago. And it still continues to keep, and, Kevin Bacon's knocking on 70, for goodness sake. So I think I understand what he's saying. I don't agree with him being the right choice, but no, there is somebody else out there that can do it and do it justice and do it well and not do an impression, but be Freddy and carry the torch. As I said at the Q&A at Mad Monster, it's not about replacing Robert. It's about honoring Robert's legacy. And as long as, you do your due diligence with casting and casting the right person for the role, it can be done. And that's why I said, if I never play Freddy again, I hope that my legacy to the Freddy character will at least be that, it can show you that somebody else can do it, and do it well enough that people accept it, buy into it, and are excited for its potentiality. And that's, that's great. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. but it's nice to have it out there, and everybody seems to be, excited with it. Should we go to the chat and just kind of take some questions, see what people are saying? All right.
I've only got about probably 13 more minutes here, unfortunately.
All right. No worries. Let's get to some of these. Some super chats came in. Hey, got a new channel member. Mikey Films became a new member of the channel, level number 1. Thank you, Mikey. Really appreciate that. If you want to become a member here on the channel, the link is, sorry?
I was just going to say, Mikey Films has been following the project for a while. He did a trailer reaction, I believe, for us.
Oh, amazing. Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. The link is at the top of the chat if you want to check out the member levels. Steve McCoy sends in $5, says, I have now watched Dylan's New Nightmare 6 times. Excellent work by all involved. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate that. Brandon Morrow sends in $6.99 and says, amazing job playing Freddy, Dave. I had the chills because you were so good and I was proud of you. Great CA moment, great Canadian moment. Maybe it's what CA moment. Maybe that's what you mean. I'm not sure. But hey, thank you, Brandon. Appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And then Don Juan sends in $10. Thank you, Don. Says, out on vacation right now, but I just wanted to say, Dave, you did such an awesome job. You and the whole crew made Freddy great again. Much love. Catch the stream later, brother. Cheers from the Don. Well, thank you, Don. Appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat. Nighttime sends in $2. Says, Dave McCrae, the arm chopper. And then Movies and Beyond. Hey, what's going on? Movies and Beyond sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, look at those shades. Already living the life after one day. He's talking to you, Cecil. What's up, Cecil?
Driving to my day job at 6 p.m., an hour and a half away, to try and sell solar to a mobile home.
Yeah. Hey, man, you're living the life. What's up, Dave? How's it going? Baby. Good, buddy. Good to see you here. Kenneth Holmes, $5. Thanks, buddy. Says, awesome job to all of you guys. Got chills watching Dave as Freddy. Bravo. Thank you, Kenneth. Really appreciate that. And then Nighttime follows up with another $2. Says, is Adam Green's Hatchet 5 actually happening? So I'll let you answer that.
No, like that's the funny thing that so many people keep asking. Like I'm happy that I tapped in to a cult audience with that, but I mean, it's just a gag, it's I love the Hatchet series. And so my way of honoring it was just by including it. It made sense to me that, Dylan might be trying to, I keep trying to say apply, but audition. He'd be trying to audition for the role, if he hadn't been having the best of luck in Hollywood at this point in his life. Which made sense to me. And so it was just a way for me to have a little fun with another franchise that I like, because again, the opportunity's there when my character is living in the real world and he's trying to be an actor, and I'm a huge horror fan. I mean, how could I not take that shot? You know what I mean?
It's true. Now,
and I mean, how cool would it be if Hatchet 5 happens and Miko gets an audition and like lands a role in it because of this? That would be pretty awesome. So, you never know.
I'm really hoping that happens. I'm really hoping that happens, because that would be really cool. That would be really cool. Kiss My Flapjack sends in $5. Says, a solid 4 out of 5 from me. Only drawback was I felt the psychiatrist's reaction to her wound was pretty underwhelming. And then he follows up with, I love the use of the voice of Deandra Laser as given, I'm just going to put just in case people haven't seen it yet, given her past roles and playing and other.
My response to that, by the way, because I've seen that a couple times as well, is that, I mean, she was in complete shock, right? She's facing an entity from horror movies that has just shown up and cut her arm off. Have you never heard of people going into shock after a massive wound like that immediately? So that's to me what happened.
Yeah.
She's just in shock over the whole thing. She's not processing the pain. She's processing the fact that a fictional character has just cut off her arm and now is facing her down and quoting Bugs Bunny at her.
Yeah, and your body has natural morphine, like it produces a natural morphine. When you go into shock, that is what your body's doing, is to cope. So, and she let out a gigantic scream when I cut off her arm. You know what I mean? So,
and you can hear it slowed down even.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I mean, it would have been strange if she was there going, ah! Oh my God! What's up? What's up? Stop it! I need to say my line.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been Nightmare 6, where you'd like start to go, and then you'd be like,
yeah, right.
Just like looking at your, we put like a Seiko watch on your wrist, and
that's
you'd be
it.
like, you know, oh, what's taking so long? Would you shut up already? You know, like
time's up.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So, yeah, that was my response, and also there was another thing that people were like, if he had the mental hospital in his phone, why did he dial it? And I was like, well, like I get that, but to me, him actually physically dialing the numbers, he's giving himself an out with every keystroke. Like, I don't have to finish this. He even pauses about four numbers in,
right,
4 or 5 numbers in, and then he finishes it out.
Yeah.
So that to me was the reasoning there, is that he's not sure he actually wants to try again, because he's been disappointed so many times, and once again he's disappointed. So that to me is why he went for the actual dialing instead of just selecting and hitting call kind of thing.
There you go. There it is right there. And then Gentle on James sends in $2, says, it's a boy. It's a boy. But Dave. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. And then Andrew Stevens, one of my great moderators here on the channel, sends in $10. Thank you, Andrew, and says, I said it once and I'll say it again. In Cecil, we trust. I really hope whoever...
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I really hope whoever is in charge of Nightmare on Elm Street pays attention to this fan film. It has been made possible. Dylan's New Nightmare was right up there for the series. So there you go. That's a very nice compliment.
Very
for sure.
kind. Thank you very much.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I personally think, I mean, as much as I do like, I mean, obviously to see Freddy on the big screen, like to see Freddy in a, you know,
you guys, Simon.
Sorry? Oh, you're here now?
I'm showing everyone the sticks I'm doing, just so everyone knows where I'm at.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, my bad.
No, that's okay. It is a bit choppy because of the reception, but it's all right. It's like a video at like 140p from 2002, but it's good. Like we can tell what it is. Totally. Or maybe 240. No, 240. It's 280 or 240? I think it's 240. Yeah.
Sorry,
no, it's good.
Sorry, I wasn't considering that.
No, it's good shit. It's good shit, man. You know, we're old enough to remember those days, so it's good. So what was I going to say? Damn it. I was going to say something. I lost my train of thought, what I was going to say. Oh, here's another.
That's totally my fault.
That's okay. Another super chat comes in from StabFan96, sends in almost £5. Thanks, buddy. Says, Dylan's New Nightmare was absolutely fantastic. Well done, lads. I'm attending for the love of horror in the UK soon, so I'll be spreading word about it for sure. Amazing. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for doing that. Yeah, the more people know about it, the better, right? You want to see the story finished? Well, you want to see what happens next? You want to see what else happens? Who else comes up? Ooh, just saying. Yep. Just saying. That's What She Said became a McCrazy channel member level number 1. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Yeah, what the hell was I going to say? I was going to say something now, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Anyway, I'll just start talking and maybe it'll come back to me, but
Dave McCray at a loss for words.
Yeah, that doesn't usually happen. But no, I mean, it's, I've been enjoying watching reading people's comments, people tagging me. Again, I obviously can't respond to everybody individually, but I do try to read everything and I appreciate that very much. And I'm glad you're enjoying the film. It's a long time coming and I'm very, glad that it's finally out there and people are being able to watch it and see it and but again, you know, please understand that it's the first. That's not it. It's the first, you know, part. But now again, in order to complete it, well, that's where the bar is. It's like It's Me, Billy. Right? You know, we delivered professional studio quality production value from top to bottom with It's Me, Billy. And we're very proud of that. We were able to showcase what we can do. Well, now that's where the bar is. So now we have to be able to raise we can't just, okay, now we'll just go shoot the sequel on a DSLR with a couple of friends in our backyard. We can't do that. You know what I mean? We're not going to, if we can't deliver that bar again and then more, but that's the baseline now, well, then we just don't do it. So it's the same thing with Never Hike Alone, the same thing with Dylan's New Nightmare. So now that's the bar, for Cecil, right? That's his baseline. So the next, if he decides to do a sequel, and it looks like it's heading in that direction in terms of the feedback, then obviously it will be a bigger campaign that people will have to come out for and support if you want to see how it all ends. And I can't say anything, but you'll know what I'm talking about, Cecil, about the opening of a potential part 2. Oh my God. As Freddy Krueger in this universe, I want to do that opening so bad. You have no idea. You have no idea. You know the one I'm talking about, right? The one that you and I and Vince talked about in the hotel room.
Yeah, it would be an absolute blast if we were able to do it. But that's the thing, to do that. Now we're already talking about a big chunk of money. It might cost to do that scene alone justice almost the entire budget of what we spent on the first one.
Well, we got to be thrifty without sacrificing on,
Yeah, no, exactly. So, unfortunately, I am at my appointments, so I do have to sign off. But
all right,
thank
no
you
worries
for having me join. I appreciate it. I will catch on to the rest of this on my way home.
Amazing. Thank you, Cecil. Thank you. You're amazing, buddy. I love you. Congratulations. Awesome stuff. And I will talk to you soon.
Love you too, man. I appreciate it. And thank you to everyone for watching the movie. We greatly appreciate it. So, have a good rest of your stream, buddy.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Later. And there he is. He's gone. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Cecil Laird is gone. Let me close that down. And then I'm just going to open up me here. Oh, hang on a sec. Let's just do this. That's me. I'm going to move me above. Hang on a sec here. Ba-da-da-da. Where am I here? I'm just going to move me above that one like that. And then I'm going to just make me the full size of the screen because you're just dealing with me now, bitches. You're just dealing with me. There we go. All right. And I usually have a little bar at the bottom here that says my name and my socials, but I don't have it on this because I had to use actually the two dudes scene thing. Anyway, it's a whole thing. If you run OBS, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's on the other thing, but no big deal. Do I have it? Do I have a bar? Do I have a little thing here I can put up? No, I don't. No big deal. No big deal. You just get to see more of me. All right, let's get to some of this. Let me see. A couple more super chats came in. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate that. Mikey Film sends in $2. Says, it was so good. It was waiting. It was so good. It was waiting the nearly 4 years. Oh, you were waiting in the. I think I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, well, it was. I mean, Cecil, when we went into development on It's Me, Billy Chapter 1, is the same time that Cecil went into development on Dylan's New Nightmare. So that's 2019. Because actually, he was further along. Because he launched his campaign in October or November, to coincide with the release of the original Elm Street, the 25th anniversary. His Indiegogo campaign. So he was further along, and we were still writing the script for It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1. And then of course the pandemic happens. We're able to go to camera and shoot It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1, and he's sitting there, and so it was, it's a long time. Very proud of the guy. He's worked really, really hard. It's not easy doing this, guys. It's not when you're doing this. Like it's a again, these are fan films, yes, because we don't own the intellectual property, but these are, indie films. And there's a lot of hard work that goes into this, a lot of turning, if I could just tell you the shit that we're dealing right now. And when I say shit, I don't mean like, oh, the shit. I just mean the work that we're dealing with right now, because these productions are union too, right? So, it's a big thing. But thankfully, for It's Me, Billy Chapter 2, we're not part of the AMPTP. So we will be taking advantage of certain waivers that we were able to shoot the movie even if they're still on strike. For those of you that might be wondering. But nonetheless, yeah, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Let me see here. We've got Joe's Trucking, Luthery. Is that how you say that? Luthery? Joe Trucking in Luthery. I think that's how you say that. Sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate that. Says, definitely need a full-length feature with Dave in the role. Honestly, Dave, I actually did see Robert in the performance. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. You're bound to, right? So again, like I've always said, my job is not to go out and do a Robert Englund impression. If somebody sees Robert in it, well, that's just default. That's just the natural byproduct of me channeling the nuances and the idiosyncrasies of Robert's performance. When I say my job is not to go out and do a Robert Englund impression, I'm talking about like cosplaying and going out as like an impressionist where I'm trying to hit all the emotional beats, right? I got to remember to do this because that's what he does. I got to remember to do this. Oh, I got to remember to do that. That's not that, because then you're just setting yourself up to failure, for failure. It's to bring the essence of the character, Freddy. Study about character. As an actor, if you're not an actor, you may not know this, but in voiceover, for example, when it comes to animation is not just about doing funny voices, right? Anybody can do a funny voice. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can do that. It's about character. You build the character and the voice will follow. You know what I'm saying? So, anybody can do a funny voice, but it's really about character. And it's the same thing with this. Freddy Krueger he's a three-dimensional, clearly defined character. So it's the character I'm looking at. What are those nuances and idiosyncrasies that Robert brings that defines this character? And that's what I go into doing while bringing my own flavor to it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so that to me was my job. And that's what I went in thinking about and trying to do. And people have asked me, were you nervous? Were you worried or whatever? And I wasn't. And I don't say that in a like, again, I have to say this because, the internet takes everything out of context. I don't say that in a braggadocious way. I don't mean that, oh, I'm just so good. I don't mean it like that. I just mean that the facts are I wasn't nervous about it because I think I was confident in my understanding of the character. Again, not just Freddy, but the character, right? The deeper layers of the character, and understanding those things, that I felt good. I felt very good. What I was worried about was the prosthetic makeup and whether I was going to be itchy and wanting to get out of it, like, an hour into it. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I was not itchy, and I was thankfully very comfortable. But actually playing the character, it took a couple of takes to find my rhythm, right? To find the rhythm, it took a couple of takes. But I can say this now, the picture of me that's on the thumbnail, it's one of the most famous shots of me from that movie. I love it. It's my favorite shot. That's just me finding the character. And that was a take. I think it was the second or third. It was either second or third take, because that scene with Dylan and I during the audition was the first thing that I shot. And so when I did that, when I reached down to Courtney, who was also the costume designer on the film, and I grabbed the back of her head. I'm like, wake up, and she, and then I look, and I, in that moment, when I was down, if you want to understand my process and what I was thinking in that moment, when I leaned down, right? Wake up, when I'm leaning down, I knew in that moment. Now, all of this is processing, like your brain's a computer, right? So it's processing in like milliseconds. Like what I'm about to tell you is going to take me a few seconds to tell you this, but it processed in like half a second in my brain. I knew in that moment, I started to feel really comfortable because it was like my second or third take. And I leaned down, you know, there was a couple of takes where I said different things. Wake up, which is the one that wound up in the movie. I think I said, wake the fuck up, which was a really funny line. The way I delivered it was really cool. I think there might have even been like a wake up, you bitch or something. I can't remember, but we decided on the, you know, the wake up, you know, which was great. Love it. And as I was there, I knew in that moment that I was going to deliver a laugh. And I knew that if I turned my head sharply like this with my mouth open, I knew based on what I looked like and based on what I looked like on the monitor, because I saw myself on, you know, the monitor under the lights, I knew in that moment that if I did the, you know, and I turned sharply, right, with my mouth open, it has to be open, not closed, but open like that. Again, it's taken me like 2 minutes to tell you this, but all this is processing in my brain and like this, right? I knew what that was going to look like. And I knew instinctually as an actor and as a filmmaker myself, I knew that that was going to be a money shot. And it was, because I remember Cecil and Vince and the guys off camera all being like, oh, fuck, that's fantastic, you know. But that's instinctual. That's not in the script. That's me finding the character. And because of the way I looked, I knew that it was going to have a very part 2 vibe. Now, it's not the part 2 makeup. It's not Yeager's makeup, right? But there's a vibe to it, right? It's a mixture. For those of you that may not know, it's a mixture of part 2 with the sunken in eyes. It's a mixture of Demon Freddy from Freddy versus Jason when you look at the ears and, you know, a bit of the brow. And it's a mixture of Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So it's a mixture of a few different looks. But I knew if I had done that, that was going to deliver that look. And that was my moment of coming into it. It's not that I didn't feel comfortable delivering the lines prior to that, you know, once and for a time maybe, but never once and for all. Face it, Dylan, you may be all grown up, but you're still my little bitch, right? It's not that I didn't feel comfortable during that moment. I did. But it was that moment that I locked in, that it locked. You know, and it locked. And from that moment forward, I felt totally at ease and totally, I knew my role. I knew what I was doing and I knew where I was going to go with the character. And so that shot, it's fantastic. It's the money shot. It's the first image that we released. Everybody picked it up back in November and it's great. And it's still, it's probably one of the great shots of me from the film. So just always, again, for those who may not know, that's the moment that, you know, you could say that's the moment I became Freddy Krueger. And that felt really good for me in that moment. And I don't think we did another take of that scene. Obviously the scene was not done, but in terms of I think maybe now, I think after that was done, we then turned the camera around and then started to shoot Miko but yeah, just a fascinating sort of thing. So again, I didn't watch any of the movies before I went to set. And I don't say that as some sort of, I'm just so good, I don't need to. No, I just feel like I know the character, the structure of the character, right? Because that's what it's about. And I felt confident in that. Confident enough anyway to roll onto set and just jump into it. And I knew that it wasn't going to take me long to find my place. And so, you know, people have to understand too that yes, I am a voice actor by trade. That's my profession. But voice acting, although it's not on camera, it is acting. And so I have a lot of experience with performing. And so I felt very comfortable on set with everybody. It's just, you know, I've been doing this a long time. So not playing Freddy Krueger like this, don't get me wrong. This was a really cool thing that I've never done before. And definitely the coolest, biggest on camera thing, like I said earlier in the show, that I've ever done, for sure, hands down, because I've been a voice actor my whole life. So, but it felt comfortable to be there. You know, the principles are the same. And so, yeah, really, really cool to, anyways, I've never told that story before from that perspective. But that's because obviously there's certain things I couldn't say because the movie was not out yet. So A couple more super chats came in. Thanks for that, guys. Really appreciate it. That's What She Said became a channel member, level number 1. Thank you. That's What She Said. Amazing. I think I already got that one, actually. Yeah. Now, yes, Joe's truck. Now I know where I am. Kiss My Flapjack sends in $5. Thanks, buddy. He says, I hope my comment didn't offend. Just a takeaway I had. I really enjoyed it overall and feel the love everyone had for this project. No, not at all. Cecil's not offended at all. He's just giving you a counter of his perspective on what he was thinking as the writer and the director and what the motivation was from his perspective, right? So yeah, no, he's not offended at all. He's fine. You're good, buddy. You're good. You're expressing your thoughts and how it rolled with you and how it worked for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Oliver Mercer, what's going on, Oliver? Sends in £5. Thanks, Oliver. Says, I loved every aspect of DNN. It delivered on every slicing level possible. I see what you did there. All performances outstanding. Let's push for more. I could not agree more. I hope they do get to do more. I really hope they do. Oh, and by the way, too, some people have asked this as well, is my voice processed, right? Did they deepen my voice for the film? So the answer is, because I have to be nuanced about this, the answer is slightly. But believe it or not, that's my voice. And the pitch, so when you are, there's different degrees of pitch that you can do, right? For those of you that have not worked with Pro Tools or Adobe Audition or anything like that, you probably know what I'm talking. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But just know that there's different levels to pitch, right? It's not just one size fits all. So the pitch was the least pitch that you could put on something. And so it is pitched slightly lower. So it's slightly deeper, slightly, like just kind of like a little bit of a, you know what I mean? Just like, we'll take that down like one peg, like one notch. You know what I'm saying? And if you were to go like all the way down, it'd be like, it would sound like that, well, you know how that sounds, right? So it was just kind of like one little notch, and we listened to it, and Cecil was so great to have me very much in on how the Freddy's voice was going to sound and how it was going to be mixed and all that kind of stuff. That was very important to me. I guarantee you, that's not something that Robert Englund probably had a say in or a hand in. But it would be the equivalent of like a DP being able to sit in on the color correction session and have a say in what the colorist does. That doesn't always happen. The colorist is a colorist for a reason. And in a lot of cases, the colorist doesn't like the DP breathing over their shoulder. But in a lot of cases, it's not unprecedented for a movie to come out and the DP to be like, fuck, it's fine, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that I was able to be there for that was very important to me. And because I didn't want my voice to be lost in translation. I didn't want my voice to be so artificial that you lose any sense of me, of Dave McRae, because I felt confident in my performance and in my delivery that I still wanted that texture and that performance to be there. And that was important to me. And Cecil was like, dude, hey, no problem, man. And he knows that I'm an audio guy and, all that kind of stuff as well. So obviously I have experience with this and I'm not just some, actor that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So that was very nice of him to include me in on that and give me sort of hands-on in that way. And so that's what we did. We dropped it down a peg, listened to it, you know what I mean? In the dream sequence, you'll notice there's a little bit of reverb on my voice because it's the dream, so it's otherworldly, but it's not otherworldly to the point where I sound overly processed. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it just sounds like a little bit of reverb. And that's okay, because that's what Robert had too. It varied from movie to movie, and sometimes it varied within the same film, which I don't like. But that's what they did with him as well. But Robert was pitched far lower. Like, for example, in part 2, he was pitched far lower than I was here in Dylan's New Nightmare. And there's nothing wrong with pitching lower. If you wanted to go lower and that was your vision and I sound really deep, well, then that's the way it is. But I didn't think it needed that, and I didn't want that because I was very happy and confident with my performance. And I thought I could take advantage of, because of the relationships I built with all these guys, and maybe they would put trust in me to be able to kind of, and they did, which was amazing. So I really thank them for that. So it is pitched slightly lower, again, like one notch. Think of like just like that, beep, you know what I'm saying? So you hear it, it goes a little lower, but it's not like the average person wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But it's just enough that it makes a little bit of a difference. And then a bit of reverb, just slight reverb in the dream sequence, and then a bit of texture when I'm in the real world. And that's it. So I just wanted to say that because people have asked me about that as well. So no, that is me. That is me. That's definitely me. It's not artificially created, for sure. So, Steve Down Under sends in $5 Thank you, Steve, and says, Dave, that was awesome acting and well done, mate. Thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. I can't get that freaky laugh out of my head. Cecil wrote a thrilling script given the limitations. A+++. Thanks, buddy. Yeah. It's, the laugh was fun. You know, I know there were some people that did say they felt that there was maybe a little too much of the laugh. And you know what? That's a critique that I think I could get behind that. I think maybe there was a couple of moments where maybe it was just one laugh too much. I could see that. Yep. I could see that for sure. Like thinking of the movie, watching the movie. Yep. I could see that. I don't think it's like overly, in my opinion, I don't think it's overly distracting. It could just be perceived that, hey, Freddy's having one hell of a fucking good time. He's like, he's laughing. He's having one hell of a good time, which actually is sort of part of the motivation behind the end laugh too. He's still coming into his own. So he's really enjoying this. However, I do think that, maybe there's one or two laughs that maybe could have been dialed in a little bit. So I do agree with that critique. I could get behind that. Like I could see that, for sure. But the laugh was, I mean, it's something I've always been able to do. And it's nice that I was able to put it to good use here, in the movie, which is a lot of fun. I'm really glad that you all enjoyed it. Josh McKenna sends in $9.99, says, I know you have known Bruce since childhood. I have. What are some of your favorite childhood memories with Bruce? Oh, too many to name here right now, but we've known each other for 31 years, and we've been to Florida together when we were teenagers with my mom and my sister, and obviously we made movies in the 90s, and we'd go to each other's high school dances because we didn't go to the same high school, so we'd go to each other's like high school dances, like Halloween dances and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I have a specific memory, just because there's so many, but Bruce is my best friend and I've known him for years, and he's the brother from another mother, right? So there's a lot of history we have together, and I think just sharing, and I think that's what makes us good business partners as well, is that because we've known each other for so long, we can talk to each other about difficult things and not be judged, and see each other's perspectives and listen to each other and work with each other to work through things, or, whatever it is. And that's trust, that's love, that's trust. And so he makes the perfect producing partner. So, I don't know if there's one specific thing that I can think of off the top of my head, but definitely making movies, home movies in the 90s was a lot of fun, and talk shows and music videos. We'd make all sorts of funny stuff. It was a lot of fun. All right, I think I've got all the super chats, right? Have I got all the super chats? I just want to make sure I'm not missing any super chats. I don't believe I am. So let me see if I can get some ones that are not super chats here. Is it Kilo or Kilo? Kilo Watt says, great work on the film. Really enjoyed the work you all did. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Quality job by everybody involved. Would love a sequel one day. Hey, you and me both, man. You and me both. It's Me, Billy, Chapter 2. We're in the middle of pre-production on that right now, which is awesome. So that's coming to fruition. I really hope that Cecil gets his sequel as well. Lee the Machine Bowers, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, Lee? Says, amazing job. Love the film. When will the Blu-rays be getting shipped out? I have no idea. So it's important for people to keep in mind that, again, I'm not a producer on Dylan's New Nightmare. Technically it's not my movie. I had nothing to do with, the development of it, the pre-production of it, the well, that's not true. I guess I did have a little bit of post-production because obviously I was working with Freddy, and the voice and all that. But in terms of like the Indiegogo and the backers and all that kind of stuff, I have no idea. I would imagine now that the movie is out there, that they will start to get on that now. They will start to be getting the Blu-rays made and all that kind of stuff. So maybe before the end of the year, I'm not sure. I have no idea. That's a question for Cecil. So I don't really know, but I would imagine soon, for sure, now that it's out there. Let me see. Warren Armour says, I look forward to seeing Cecil's Hollywood directorial debut as well as Dave's. You're all making Hollywood quality films. Thanks, Warren. Really appreciate that, man. Hey, that's the dream, right? You never know. I mean, between what Vince has done with Never Hike Alone, what we've done with Billy, and of course, we're still about to do a sequel here, and what Cecil's done with Dylan's New Nightmare, we've definitely proven that we are competent filmmakers that can make again, that doesn't mean everybody's going to like what you do, right? That's art. Not everybody's going to agree with the creative decisions you make. That's fair. Not everybody's going to like Billy too. We hope everybody does, but not everybody will. That's just art, right? But I think we have all proven, because now you've seen what Cecil's done. You know what Vince can do. You know what now, me and Bruce can do. It's at least, I think, proven at the very least that we're competent and capable of helming film projects, and delivering quality. And so that's the dream. That's the dream, right? You take it up, and maybe one day, it'd be awesome. Let me see. Just want to see here. Darren from Georgetown. What's going on? Darren from Georgetown says, wow, that's great. Still have to battle. Kicking ass, keep grinding. I think you're talking to somebody else in the chat. That's okay. What's the, okay, I'll go another 10 minutes. We'll go another 10 minutes, then I'll call it. Just because, unless you guys want me to hang around. I don't know. But I think we've kind of gone through everything. You know what I mean? I've talked kind of a bit about everything, I think. Steve Ross says there was just enough laugh in DNN. Dave, your laughing was the right amount. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Some people think there was just a few laughs, maybe one or two laughs too many. And I can see that perspective. I don't think it's I don't think it ruins the movie or anything, but it's a critique that I could be like, yeah, I could see how maybe that would be one or two too many for one person. You know what I'm saying? I could see that. But yeah. Ryan says, this was well made. As for the story, it left me wanting more, but it had an odd pace to it. It felt like part 1 of 5. Well done on Freddy, Dave. Nailed it. Thank you. Well, that's kind of the idea, right? There's two options. And Vince, who, of course, you guys know from Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow, and the upcoming Never Hike Alone 2 coming out on Friday the 13th, next month, October, Friday 13th. Mark your calendars, don't miss it. Which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm so proud of him as well. He's just fucking killing it. It's a situation where, again, because we want to produce professional quality work where we're working with professional actors. We are working on cinematic grade cameras with professional equipment. I mean, this costs a lot of money. And sometimes it's easier to take these things in stages. So that's what Vince was originally going. He delivered Never Hike Alone. And then the sequels, he was going to do it in like 4 or 5 different parts. But Never Hike in the Snow was so successful after part 1, right? That he was able to, he's like, you know what, let's just try and raise it all. And he was able to do that. So now, instead of breaking up Never Hike Alone 2 over the course of like 4 or 5 parts, he's delivering like a 70-minute feature film, which is amazing. With It's Me, Billy, it's a bit different because It's Me, Billy, the first chapter was always designed to be the first part of a 2-part story. So the grandma cliffhanger is intentional. It's not like we just ran out of money and we couldn't continue. I guess from a certain perspective, you could say that, but we didn't run out of money. It was designed to be that way, right? But for us, our story only has 1 more part. So we don't have like multiple, like our story's not big enough and vast enough and deep enough to continue to like, and It's Me, Billy 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, although I'm sure somebody could extend it and then you're going to get into crazy, wild, dumb sequel territory. But for us, it was always designed to be the first part of a 2-part story. If we had proof of concept, we would have just asked to raise it all at once, but we didn't. We didn't have a professional, high-end fan film to showcase. We didn't have it. That's what It's Me, Billy was. So we needed to show what we could do first. And in the script, we were like, well, you know what? This is a great spot to end it on a cliffhanger. And could you imagine if we could get Olivia Hussey, which we have, and you could, all that shit, right? So could you, yes, okay, let's do it. So we took a risk. You got to take a risk. So we did it. And the feedback has been great. Now, again, It's Me, Billy is not Freddy. It's not Jason. Black Christmas is not nearly as popular or as beloved as those properties. So, but within the confines of Black Christmas, It's Me, Billy has done really well. I think it's over 60,000 views now or something like that. It's done really, really well. Some people have said, well, why are the view counts so low? Well, it's low in comparison to like what Dylan's New Nightmare is going to get or what Never Hike Alone 2 is going to get, because more people are into Freddy and Jason. They're the beloved properties. People aren't necessarily into Billy. It had one movie. It had 2 remakes. It had 1 movie, right? We are creating the mythology and the lore. So it's just about interest and popularity of the IP. In the confines of what it is, it's hugely successful. Hugely successful. So it's like a $2 million movie making $40 million at the box office. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. So anyway, so, there's that. So it does feel unfinished. Dylan's New Nightmare does feel unfinished because Cecil had to do the same thing. He had this big story that he thought to himself, okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to raise, even with Vince and Dave on board, I don't think I'm going to be able to raise, $250,000 because I don't have a proof of concept that I am capable of delivering something of quality, of professionalism. Not everybody's going to like it. That's art. But the money's going to go to good use. The money's not going to be wasted, right? You're going to deliver something that hopefully fans can be proud of. But he didn't have that yet, right? So he needed to do what we did, which was, well, let's start here. Let's deliver this. And if people like it, then hopefully we can say, well, hey, if you like it, if you like what we're doing, then come on out and let's raise more money to finish this thing off. And that's what we did with Billy 2, or what, we did with the campaign. That's what Vince did with Never Hike Alone 2. And hopefully, maybe if this reception continues to go well, that's what Cecil's going to do with, I don't know what it's going to be called, but Dylan's New Nightmare 2 for the sake of it right now, right? So, and hopefully instead of doing, 4 more parts where you're going to have to wait 7 or 8 more years, maybe we can raise it all in one shot and we can just do it right out of the gate. You know what I mean? And, so, so if it feels unfinished, it's because it is. If it feels like it kind of just stops, because it does. Think of Dylan's New Nightmare like an episode of TV, like a streaming thing where you're like, if we had the money in the backing, you would already be on to the next episode. Bloop. You know what I'm saying? But it plays like an episode, right? It plays like, this isn't, is that it? No, it's like It's Me, Billy Chapter 1. It plays like the first installment of like a 2-part kind of thing. So anyway, I know I've rambled on about that, but I do know that there may be some new viewers that are watching that don't know about this. And I sometimes feel it's always, good to give people context and sort of the bigger picture of, okay, I get it. That doesn't mean that's necessarily going to change your mind how you feel about the movie, but at least you're going to be more informed on the motivations and the creative decisions behind why you see what you see. Edward Nito, my Godzilla brother from another mother. Edward Nito coming in late and says, sup, Dave? Sends in a very generous super chat. Thanks, buddy. Says, glad everyone got to see Dylan's New Nightmare, man. I remember telling you that the way the camera tilts up until Freddy was revealed reminded me of Godzilla's first appearance in Godzilla 1985. Yes! Yes, I instantly made that connection. That's so funny. That yes, you're right. For those of you who don't know, Edward Nito and I are big Godzilla 1985 fans. We love it. It's our favorite Godzilla movie. You're right. Yeah, when the security guy comes out and he's like, and he falls to the ground and the camera's just like, tilting up and you guys oh, fuck, man. It's a great reveal. It's an awesome reveal. You're right. And you are correct. Similar. Yeah. There's a similar vibe to it. You're right. That's funny. I remember you mentioning it to me, but when you mentioned it to me, I never thought of it. I was like, oh, that's right. I said, I don't think I thought of it. Maybe I did. I can't remember now. But anyway, you are correct on that, man. You are definitely correct on that. For sure. Let me see here. just want to make sure. Chester Franklin Jr. says, Dave, what are your thoughts about The Exorcist Believer release date being October 6th? Congrats to you and the crew of DNN. Proud of you, man. Thanks, Chester. Yeah, I heard it was moved. It was moved because of a Taylor Swift concert or something. Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. It's probably a smart... I don't know the details, but if Universal felt that a Taylor Swift concert was going to eat into their box office, well, that's probably the right thing to do. It's probably the right thing to do. Although, is it the same demographic? I don't think so, but I don't know. It's probably the smart thing to do. Let me see here. Trio226 says, I'm going to cast it on my big TV after this stream. Amazing Trio. Awesome. Do it, buddy. And knock it out of the park. Jen Werner says, this was the scariest Freddy we have seen in a long time. Thank you, Jen. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Just scrolling back. Cosplay Chris, yes, my brother from down under. Cosplay Chris, great to see you here, buddy. Says, hey Dave, congrats once again on Dylan's New Nightmare. You and the crew should be beyond proud. Loved watching your subtle movements and mannerisms as fuck, I guess that is. Is that what you're trying to say? I FK. Maybe it's some Australian acronym I don't know about. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, thank you, buddy. Really appreciate that. And that means a lot. I mean, you know, you do a lot of this stuff, you know, and I mean, you're cosplay Chris, you know what I'm saying? So it means a lot. I appreciate that. And I loved your review at the end. I'm giving this, what'd you say? 5 butt Daves or 4 butt Daves? It was so fucking funny. I was totally unexpected. I wasn't expecting it at all. And when you did it, I was like, that's amazing. So really funny, dude. Really funny. Really appreciate that. Thank you. And then let's see here. Just trying to get some people. I see a few new people. I'm trying to get some people I haven't got. Mike MC says, I wasn't a fan of the butchering of the song Dream Warriors. Well, butchering is a subjective thing, right? You know what I mean? It's a mashup, right? It's taking 2 popular Elm Street songs and sort of making it their own and combining them together. I thought they did a really good job, actually. It's actually, I actually think it's pretty good. Now, obviously, there are some people that don't like it, and that's fair, right? That's fair. It did not work for you, and that's okay. That's okay, right? It did not work for you, and that's okay. You know what I mean? That's okay, right? There's going to be lots of things that work for people. There's going to be lots of things that don't work for people. There's lots of people that loved what I did with Freddy, and then there's some people that didn't like it, right? You know what I mean? Thankfully, at least based on the people who've been vocal, like people who are commenting and doing reviews, thankfully, I'd say the vast majority of people have really appreciated what I brought to the character and what I did. And that means a lot. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to like it, right? But, and Miko, I mean, wasn't Miko fucking amazing? He's fantastic. He's great. When he's there, when he's there and he's hitting himself in the face, he's like, wake up. That's real shit, man. He went there. And it's real shit. It's real. Like he was, after we finished shooting that, he needed about half an hour to come down. He was very emotional. Like he was crying. He was actually crying. And that's just a testament to the talent that he is and his ability to go there, to want to go there. I mean, listen, he's a former Hollywood child star. I mean, this isn't his first rodeo. It might be his first rodeo in a while, but it's like muscle memory, you know what I mean? And when, you know, he got into it and he was there and he was back there, and it took him a bit to come down from it. It's like when you work with professionals and you work with talent, it's amazing. It's like Victoria Miro in It's Me, Billy, Chapter 1. When she's crying at the end there, when she sees Justine and she's crying, that's real. That's not Hollywood pretty cry. That's real. And she's not faking it. I'm telling you, I was there, of course. She's not faking it. She went there. And we shot it 3 times. And on the 3rd take, she came over to me and she said, you know, I think I can do it again, but I don't know how many more I have in me, right? Because she's not kneeling there going, she's not doing that. she's crying. She's gone there. Victoria she actually can make herself do that. That tear that you see at the end of DNN on Dylan, real. It's real. Now, some actors can do that. Some actors can't. It doesn't mean that one actor is just a better actor than the other. It's just that between Miko and Victoria, like they are the kind of actors that really go there in their craft. And so, yeah, Victoria was just, and we had let her know that, we're now setting up for the emotional scene. So if you need time to yourself to get to that emotional place, that emotional space, now is the time to go out. And she did that. She went off on her own. We didn't know where she was, but she was somewhere in the house. And she needed that time to just get prepared because, you know what I mean, to get into it. And it's incredible to watch, it's incredible to watch, to be in the room and watch it. It's very powerful. It's very powerful. So when you see Miko, for example, when he's there and he's hitting himself in the face going, Wicca, that's real. He's really there. He's really there in that emotional space, in that state. He's really there. And so when we say, well, not me, obviously, because I wasn't the director, but when Cecil says cut, and he immediately goes, and he comes down, he needs a minute. He needs it. And he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He needs a minute. You know what I mean? And he goes off. He was gone for it. You know what I mean? Because he's coming down. Like he's really there. So to watch, he was brilliant. He was fantastic. A true professional. And I really hope he gets more work from this. I really do. Because he's still got it. He's still young too, man. He's a bit younger than me. I'm 44. I think he's 30. He was born 88, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's 30. No, I think he was born 87, I think. Because he was 2 in Pet Sematary, right? So I think he was born 87. So he's 36 or whatever. He's still young, man. Still got a lot left. He could fucking kill it. He's great. He's absolutely fantastic. He's fantastic. The Primetime Podcast says, I'm sorry, but when you called Dylan a little bitch was hilarious. Wasn't ready for that at all. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that was in the script. He is my little bitch. What did I say? You may be all grown up, but you're still my little bitch. And I hit bitch hard. Bitch. I hit it hard, which was important. Mike Mick says, then end with the tears is heavy and real. Oh, I guess you're making another point. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's real deal. Like when you watch It's Me, Billy chapter 1, when Victoria, you don't really, because of the angle and the lighting, you don't, and the position of the actors, when she's crying, kneeling over Justine, because she's doing this with her head and crying and sobbing, and it's real shit. You don't see the tears necessarily. But when the phone rings and she turns around and she picks up that phone and she's like, what the fuck do you want? If you look closely, you can see the tears on her face. It's real shit, man. We didn't have to go in with drops or with water. No, it's real shit. She went there. And it's not just about making yourself cry. It's about going to that emotional place and state like it's actually happening. It's crazy stuff. It's great. So like in Victoria's mind at that moment, this was real. And even though there's, the key grip and myself and Bruce and the gaffer and Greg, our DP, there's crew members around. And in that moment, in that space, we're not there. We're not there. You know what I'm saying? And Victoria's brilliant. She's fantastic. I love her. She's great. She's so talented. So talented. Anyway, okay, I've gone over a little bit, but but I don't mind going over when there's rhythm, there's things happening. I don't mind that. Have I got all the super chats before I call the show today? Have I got all the super chats? I just want to make sure that I've got all the super chats. I see we got 2 new members as well, which is fantastic. Yep. Okay. Edward Nito was the last one. All right, folks. Well, listen, I'm going to end the stream there. I think that's a good spot to end it. I want to first, of course, thank my moderators, Frank Riker, Tab the Short, Darren Sands, Chris Baber, Cody Snyder, and Andrew Stevens. Thank you very much for doing what you do. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you to all my channel members. We're closing in on 100 channel members. I wanted to be at 100 by Halloween. Now let's see if we can get to 150 by Halloween, because I think we're only like 10 channel members away from 100. So thank you to all my amazing channel members. Don't worry, I do have the Halloween only show coming soon. It's just I'm trying to figure out the right date for it so I don't have to cancel it. We're going to get that too. There's going to be another member-only Q&A soon, so, be on the lookout for that. And if you're interested in becoming a member here on the channel, the link is at the top of the chat, and it's also in the description as well. And thank you to all the super chats that came in today as well. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you, thank you, thank you. I know I can speak on behalf of everybody, the entire cast and crew of Dylan's New Nightmare, when I say thank you for watching. And even if it wasn't for you, thank you for watching. Even those of you out there that are like, hey, thank you for watching. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everybody out there that, like I said, reached out to me, told me how much you loved my portrayal of the Dream Demon, Freddy Krueger. It means a lot. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad that at least what appears to be the vast majority of people, I'm so glad that it resonated with you, it stuck with you, and hearing things like, dude, I hope you get the opportunity to, to audition for The Real Thing and all that kind of stuff. That means a lot. That means a lot. And it's a phone call I definitely would take. Like I've said, I mean, this was the closest to The Real Thing. And I've mentioned this before, but it's true. This is the closest to The Real Thing I think you could get without it being The Real Thing. In terms of the production value and with Miko and, with everything. I mean, it's, and the way they did the makeup and everything and all the process I had to go through. And I don't think you can get any closer without it being The Real Thing. So it's my audition, and hopefully people liked my audition. And, you never say never. You never say never. Stranger things have happened. Thank you, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. You're all amazing. Thank you so much. And if you're new, I don't usually say this, but hey, I'm allowed 1 or 2 times to say it. If you're new here, subscribe, because it'd be great to get those subscribers up so we can get past 30,000 finally. Anyways, folks, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great long weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend to all of you out there, and watch Dylan's New Nightmare. Oh, and also the It's Me Billy Chapter 2 campaign is in demand. If you want to check that out, you want an It's Me Billy Blu-ray, hoodies, t-shirts, Black Christmas fans out there, just saying. Link is in the description as well. All right, folks, have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend. Talk to you guys soon. Cheers.